Hi there. In this video, I want to talk to you about how to install a strategic authority system in your business so that you can get consulting clients on command. When you have a system like this installed, you're able to acquire more premium clients consistently and predictably with less personal effort and expense. So in this video, I'm going to provide the training that will cover why your marketing isn't working, why strategic authority is a prerequisite to attract consulting clients, and thirdly, how to install a strategic authority marketing system into your business. But before we jump into that, who am I and why should you listen to me? Well, as it happens, this year I celebrate my 30th year since I started my first consultancy practice. And since then, I've gone on to sell 3 practices, having started, grown, and sold each of those. And along the way as well, I've managed to publish three books in the consulting field, talking about how to run consulting firms successfully based on my own experiences. And I've also had numerous media appearances, which are listed below the book covers there. But really, this isn't about me. And if you want to know more about me, you can dig around the internet and do a Google search, and you'll find out a lot about me, unlike a lot of so-called consultants or experts in this field who've never run a consultancy practice of their own. So that's, I think, the biggest reason why you should listen to me, because I've been there, I've done it, I've been through all the challenges that you are facing or you may end up facing trying to grow your consultancy practice. And I've managed to overcome a lot of those challenges. And I didn't find it easy at all. In fact, a lot of those challenges held me back for far too long until I managed to get the help I needed and broke my way through those barriers to be able to finally build a business that ran without me. And I was able to sell my last practice without any of the normal, well, the protocols, I guess, that most people selling professional service practices have to sell with, including retention periods and having to stay around for 3 years to hand over and train the new people. But because I had set my business up to run without me, it was immediately saleable and transferable. So the day that I sold my business was the last day that I worked in that business. So I'm going to talk about how I've achieved that. But first of all, I also want to talk about how some of my clients have achieved the sort of successes that we're talking about here. And Damien Battersby from Proactive IT Solutions was, when we first started working in a business with 10 consultants or 10 employees, not all consultants, but many of them were providing the services of the firm, and they were involved in IT consulting and service provision. And after 12 months of working together, Damien had almost doubled his turnover because of the things that I'm going to be talking to you about today and the things that we implemented into his business to accelerate results dramatically in that time and overcome a lot of the challenges, not just increasing sales, but doing that in a way that meant that the doubling of sales came with only one additional employee being added to the team because of the efficiencies we developed in the working processes and the business model that we ended up operating around. And the marketing systems of focus that we'll talk about. And if you've seen any of my previous videos in this series, you will have learnt some of the strategies that we employ here, but I'll go deeper into that as in how to employ these strategies as we go through our training today. Also, Shelley Thompson, who was running a business at a much smaller level when she first started working with me. She was involved in consulting and really just getting a new business off the ground. And she was involved in healthcare or in the healthcare industry, delivering consultancy services around patient-centered growth strategies and about how to deliver patient-centered care rather than the typical approach that a lot of the medical profession has taken over the years, which hasn't been particularly patient-centered. And Shelley grew from that small beginning to the point where she's now regarded as Australia's leading practitioner and advisor in this patient-centered growth area. And what we did with Shelley is really helped her understand about the strategies of driving growth in terms of client acquisition, flipping the process from her chasing clients to the situation where she was attracting clients and attracts clients now because of the authority positioning that she's developed. And they're just a couple of people from the hundreds of people that I've worked with, but I've worked with people across the board in lots of different areas, people involved in leadership consulting, life coaching, building maintenance consulting, accountancy, CRM consulting, remuneration consulting, pricing consultants, hospitality, IT, website design and marketing consulting in there as well. So business coaches too. So there's been quite a cross section of different types of professional services that I've worked with, but really the issues and the challenges for all of these people have really boiled down to the same things that we're going to address in this training today. And the first and most prominent of those challenges is around consistency in client acquisition, which is really the first key to scalability. And most consultancy firms end up hitting a growth plateau because their client acquisition is limited. And it's limited because it's based on referrals. It's based on the principles of the business doing the networking and being the rainmaker in the business, or it's based on random marketing on social media or whatever other platform that the marketing is using. Now, there's nothing wrong with referrals. Let me make that point clear. We want as many referrals as we can get. But the issue with referrals, as you will have heard, and if you haven't seen any of my previous trainings in this series, then maybe pause this video here, look in the description below the video, and I've put the links for the previous videos in this series in there. So it might be worthwhile going back and looking at those videos before you come back to this one, because this is really the final video in this 5-part series. So go back and check those out if you haven't seen those already. But if you have seen those now, I'm really just going to give a brief overview around the challenges and just to set the scene for the process of implementing the strategic authority marketing system into your business, which is really the remedy for the limitations that most consultants have when they rely on referrals. And the challenge with the referrals is that they obviously are not predictable, they're not scalable, they're out of your control. And really, if you're relying on referrals to grow your business, then you're handing over a major part of your business growth to other people. You're putting it out of your control. And that's the issue here. Networking, again, there's nothing wrong with networking. However, it's very labor intensive. When you stop networking, you stop getting clients. And it's really what I call in one of my other videos equivalent to Stone Age marketing, where you're the hunter out trying to hunt every day to catch your food. And like the Stone Age people did, they were the hunters and gatherers. If they stopped hunting, then they went hungry. And that's what it's like for us in our consultancy practices if we're relying on networking to get our clients, where it's just like hunting for clients. And if we stop that, then our client acquisition pipeline dries up. A lot of consultants these days have been aware of those limitations in referrals and networking and have caught on to the promise, I guess, of marketing through social media. And that promise is appealing because it does get results and people do get clients through social media. However, what I see from most consultants and, in fact, professional service practitioners in general is that they do not understand how to effectively market themselves or their firms. And when it comes to marketing on social media, they're not using social media effectively. So they're tending to market reactively or randomly with what is kindly known in the industry as random acts of marketing. And those random acts of marketing are just pretty much totally ineffective. They tend to maybe excuse the lack of results or immediate results from their efforts and continue to put more effort into marketing on social media because at least we're getting our name out there. And that is a term that I hate because I don't want to get my name out there. I want their name in here. I want my potential clients' names in my database where I can control the flow of communication and the flow of influence in my marketing so that I am taking my potential clients through the buyer's journey that they need to go through to identify me as the ideal solution, or in your case, you want them to identify your firm as having the ideal, best fit solution for your ideal client's biggest problem. So not being able to achieve client acquisition successfully because of these limitations is the reason that most professional service firms' growth is stunted or has hit a plateau. And we're going to address that in our training today. So why your marketing isn't working? Most consultancy firm owners are great at delivery, but not great at marketing. They have not defined a marketing strategy. Consequently, there's no predictable system for attracting new premium clients. There's no way to differentiate your firm from competitors. Marketing doesn't build authority or trust, and it's ultimately too dependent on you as the principal in the business to get the new clients. And this is where the biggest bottleneck is in this process, because most professionals that I know of are still heavily involved in delivery of services. And it tends to be this scenario that creates the feast-famine cycles that I see a lot of consultancy firms experiencing when the rainmaker, if we can call them that, are able to get new clients, but then the work that is resulting from that new influx of clients creates pressures to get the work done, and for the principal to jump back into delivery or to manage the team around delivery, and consequently step back from doing all the good work of generating the clients. So we can't consistently and predictably grow our business and grow our client base if marketing is dependent totally on you. And with the process that we're talking about, the strategic authority marketing system, we are looking to extract you from the majority of the marketing process and have the system doing the work rather than you doing the work. So what is it really costing you? When you're unable to consistently and predictably attract new premium clients, you tend to suffer from obviously missed revenue and growth. But some flow-on effects of that are burnout and overwork. And I see so many consultants suffering from burnout because they're burning the candle at both ends, both when they're busy trying to get projects delivered by the deadlines, and also when they're quiet, when they're trying to work hard to get proposals finalized and find the new clients so that the team has work to do and not sitting around twiddling their thumbs, which is, again, costly. You end up in this situation with a firm that can't scale or be sold. You end up with a firm that is really totally dependent on you as the owner to run the business and for you to continue to help it survive. Potentially, there are challenges in relationships in this scenario as well. And I look back to my time when I was working in one of the big four organizations, and every one of the partners that I was working with was on their second or third relationship in their marriage partnerships, or they were just working way too hard to be able to invest time into their personal relationships and family relationships. And that was certainly not the scenario I wanted to end up in myself. I also saw a lot of people and see a lot of consultants in this situation suffering from health issues. And there's so much depression in this field as well. And that's a real shame because it doesn't really have to be that way. But I see consultants suffering from external pressures as well as internal pressures. And that just means you're being squeezed from two different directions or potentially three different directions externally, as well as the internal pressures that are built up because of the lack of a strategy. And there's no doubt these days we have increasing demands from clients. We also have increasing levels of competition and changing market dynamics. And I think since the pandemic, the whole way the consultancy world works is changing and has changed dramatically. And it's hard to keep up. And there's so many new players in the market as well because of the changes in this area, that the increasing competition is there too as a result of that. So we really have two ways to approach dealing with these pressures. And the first way is to be reactive. We can just react and try to do our best, try to fight some of those pressures. But what tends to happen is that we'll tackle things at random here. We'll tackle the thing that's shouting the loudest or where we're feeling the pain the most. And what I've found is when we operate reactively, we do not solve the problems that we're facing. We end up maybe basically putting a Band-Aid on the biggest cut and hoping that helps. But typically it comes back to bite us later on because it hasn't healed properly. and we haven't solved our problem, and we haven't solved problems in other areas as well. So the second approach is to operate with a proactive strategy. So to develop our strategy proactively so that we're addressing all of those factors, we're identifying all of those pressures that are crushing us, as my diagram said, potentially crushing our business and restricting its growth. So what happens when we have a strategy? And really, this is the way that we need to look at developing a strategy. And the three main areas we need to focus on are, first of all, what are you great at and enjoy doing? Because that's where it starts. You have some skills, you have experience, you have talents, and some of those you're very good at, some of those maybe not so good. But the important factor too is, what do you actually enjoy doing? Because as much as we go into business based on the skills and the training we have, if we are working at things we don't enjoy, it's just like having a job. You may as well go back and work for a boss and earn a salary and avoid all of these challenges and pressures. So you might as well decide to do what you enjoy doing and what you're great at, because often there's a confluence there. You typically are great at what you enjoy doing, and you enjoy doing what you're great at. The second factor is what your clients really want. And this is, we'll dive deeper into this, but really, when you understand what your clients really want, you can develop an unbiddable value proposition when you connect the dots between what your clients really want and what you are great at and enjoy doing. The third element is the economic value. And obviously here there needs to be an economic value arising from what you do. So it's got to be valuable to you so that you can make a profit, but it also has to be valuable to your clients so that you can command premium pricing. And pricing is an area here that there's a lot of opportunity to influence in the way that you set up your strategy, because we don't want to be operating at cheap pricing. We don't want to be underpricing ourselves and really suffering low margins when there's no need for that. When you can be seen as the authority in your market and provide your clients what they really, really want, then you can command premium prices, and the economic value of that is what you're delivering to your clients, and they're willing to pay that because of they can't get what you offer from anyone else. So that's where our strategy needs to be developed, around those three factors to create a winning strategy. So when we have a strategy in place and we're able to define what we're really great at doing and what we enjoy doing, we develop an authority positioning proposition. We have the ability then to command premium prices and deliver what our clients are demanding. And we do that in a way by positioning ourselves as the authority, as the thought leader in our field, as the go-to expert. People don't want to deal with whoever's second best or even below that. People want to deal with who's best at what they do. So creating authority positioning is communicating to the market that you are the best go-to person or go-to firm to deliver what they really want. And that's the second part of this too, is to be able to offer what your clients really want enables you to develop a unique value proposition as well. You are able to differentiate your firm from your competitors and really eliminate competition from the equation, because when you have that perfect match between what your clients really want and what you're great at and enjoy doing, that's a unique positioning that provides real value to your clients in a way that your competition doesn't do, or at least they may be capable of doing it, but they're not communicating that to your ideal clients because they are operating around reactive marketing, and they're doing the things that we talked about are the limitations for most professional service firms because they're not operating strategically. And most consulting firms I've had experience with are reactive around marketing and haven't put their work into developing winning marketing strategies like you'll be able to do when you employ this methodology. The third factor of defining the economic value is really where it's about creating an attraction marketing system so that you have a continuous supply of new clients on command. You can keep your pipeline full because you are systematically communicating with your market in a way that commands attention and helps your clients move through that buyer's journey that takes them from, first of all, becoming aware that there's a problem they have that can be dealt with and should be dealt with, through to the point where you're helping them identify the best solutions for how to deal with that challenge they're facing, and then identifying your firm as the go-to firm that will deliver exactly what they need. When you set up your system to do that automatically, or without you having to be the one who's making it all work, you have an unbeatable system, and a system that will help you attract new leads daily, new opportunities weekly, and new clients every month. So what if you had a strategic growth machine like that operating in your business with a system that generates consistent inquiries using the methodologies and strategies we talked about? You have clients coming to you pre-sold. And as I talked about with that, mirroring your client's buyer's journey, you are teaching them why your service is really the only potential solution, or really the only practical solution to getting their problem solved. So they come to you already pre-sold. They don't come to you asking for proposals. They come to you begging to become a client. That's the positioning that you can deliver and achieve with a system like this. So what happens then is that you only work with premium clients. And a lot of consultants I see are working with problematic clients. They're working with clients that have put them into the servant role. I was talking to one of my clients yesterday who's experiencing this right now, has made some choices to take on a client with making assumptions about what was required. But what's happened really is that the client has positioned them into a servant's role, and they are there to do the client's bidding instead of flipping it the other way around and having clients who understand that you are the expert, your process is what needs to be followed, and they will follow you and do exactly what you tell them to do because they want the results that they believe you can deliver. So choosing to only work with premium clients is an option you have with this methodology. And because of that, you're able to eliminate the feast-famine cycles that you may have been experiencing or have experienced in the past. But primarily what you're doing here is creating a platform for growth, because as we started off in this training, you can't grow your firm consistently and steadily without consistent and predictable client acquisition. So when you have that in place, you create the platform for the growth of your business. So let's talk about if this process really is for you. And the program that we're going to talk about that we work with our clients is really designed if you own a consultancy business with up to 20 staff, you ideally have more than just yourself in the process as well. Hopefully you have at least an assistant or maybe some other consultants you can call on as contractors to help you out when you're busy. It doesn't work so well, or let's say it does work, but there's more work for you to do if you're just a solo consultant trying to get your business off the ground. We're really talking to get the quickest traction with this. You need to already have clients. You probably have some support people on your team so that you can start to extract yourself from some of these activities pretty quickly and start to get traction with getting clients fairly quickly, because it's not all down to you. As I said, it's not impossible. And if you are that solo consultant, then definitely this can work, but you will have to put in a lot more work than you're currently doing to both working on your business and work in your business, if you understand that concept. And that's a challenge, but it's not impossible. So I recommend that you do that if that's you, but this will be a much better proposition for you if you are beyond that stage of, startup and survival. If you already have some consistency in the level of work that you're doing and revenue that you're generating, and have a team to support you. It's also for you if you want to put an end to dealing with that sales roller coaster, the feast famine cycles. If you want to onboard new clients consistently and predictably, and you want to stop competing on price, and if you're ready to build a business that attracts premium clients on command, if that's you, this is the program that is designed especially and particularly for you. So when you have a strategic authority marketing system in place, you'll never again have to rely on referrals as the mainstay of your client acquisition. You'll never have to spend your evenings or early mornings going to networking meetings if you don't want to. You'll never have to worry about where your next client is coming from. You'll never have to be in a position to sharpen your pencil on prices to ensure you win the sale. You'll never be regarded as a commodity. You'll never have to bend to your clients' wishes about what you do for them. You'll never have to worry about scope creep and projects going over budget. And you'll never have to feel awkward about your team running projects without you being at the coalface with your clients. So we're talking about installing the strategic authority marketing system, and we're able to do that within 12 months in most businesses to get from the point of stuck and struggling, where you are operating reactively with your marketing and reactively in your business, to the point where you're growing profitably. And we're doing that with developing the first phase through authority positioning, moving then to the second phase through focus specialization, and finally building your attraction marketing system to deliver clients consistently and predictably without you having to be involved in every piece of that marketing system. And ideally, the only point that you would have to become involved is at the final point of the client coming to you just to get the sign-off to become one of your clients. So in phase one, the authority positioning phase, and if you're working with us through this process, this is really about the first 90 days of working together, where we'll install an outbound system that consistently puts you in front of your premium clients and provides enough opportunities for you to finally have the confidence and the ability to acquire new clients in sufficient volumes to meet your growth targets. It's about creating the methodology and being proactive so that you're giving attention every day to the driver or the key driver in the growth of your business, and that is new sales. And without sales, you don't have a business ultimately. Without sales, you run out of work to do. So the feast famine cycles we talked about are brought about because there's a variation in the attention you put to sales and marketing. And it comes about because you do well in the networking or referral generation, and you get out and shake the trees and find new clients, but you then get busy doing the work and neglect the marketing. So this is about creating authority positioning where you are doing the work every day to position your firm as a proposition and an opportunity for your clients to come to you. Now, this is initially creating a system where you're giving attention daily to sales and marketing and connecting with potential clients, communicating your value to them in various ways that we set up that will ultimately be automated and taken out of your hands. But this is, I think, the biggest factor and a biggest mistake I've seen a lot of consultants do is they think that the best way to have this happen is to engage a consulting firm or a marketing agency to do this work for them, to create content for social media. So maybe it's a marketing agency, or maybe it's your junior assistant who you employ to do this work. And it's often one of those options. But really what I've seen is that is a total mistake. Either option, whether they're experienced marketing agents or a marketing agency, they do not know your business like you do, and they do not know your clients like you do, and they do not know how marketing professional services works. My experience is that marketing agencies are great at marketing products, which are more transactional type sales, but they do not understand the nuances of marketing professional services, which is primarily all about building relationships and building trust. You can't make a sale until you are with someone that trusts you to really look after their business and look after them personally. That people need to trust you to have their best interests at heart. Typical marketing cannot achieve that. Strategic authority marketing does achieve that, and that's the biggest difference. So when you hand over or abdicate your marketing to a marketing agency or to your junior assistant, you are really taking hands off and really just pouring money down the drain by doing it that way. It needs to be initiated by you. You need to be seen as the authority in what you do. And that is all about your personality, your relationships with people. Now, we'll talk about not getting trapped in being the one that your clients want to work with in the next phase. But primarily, you need to be positioning yourself as the authority in the business so that your clients are coming to pay attention to you and your marketing material. And you have the opportunity to educate them and influence them to go through that buyer's journey that they need to go through to identify that they want your help. And that's what this part of the process is all about, getting people seeing your educational content in a way that they are deciding that they must have your help. The second phase is all about focus specialization. So the second 90 days of working together takes the whole marketing system that we've developed, the authority positioning, to the next level by creating compelling reasons for your market to see your firm rather than you personally as the market authority with the unique solution relevant to their needs. We'll help you build the story and your marketing assets that lead your premium clients to see your solution as the only viable option to solve their problem. We also help you create a marketing message and educational components to build a marketing system that mirrors your premium clients' buying process in a way that further enhances your authority for them and helps you build a relationship of trust with them quickly. This is what I was talking about in transferring the authority from yourself to your firm. And when we look at focused specialization, it's really about building your business model to be the perfect solution for your client's biggest challenge. Now, when we talk about Damien Battersby earlier on, one of the things that we did in helping him double his sales in the first 12 months of working together was identifying the range of services that they were offering. And they were really a full service general practice, like many of you are. And what we found is by offering that complete range of services to anyone who wanted them, there were many of those services that they were providing that were barely profitable, and in fact, some of them were even making a loss. So when we identified what their premium clients really, really wanted and focused the attention of the business to deliver those services, we eliminated many of the services. In fact, it reminds me of what Steve Jobs did when he returned to Apple. Eliminate the dead weight, eliminate the areas in your business that are pulling you down, and focus on the high profit, high value areas of the business, and then turn all of your marketing towards attracting your premium clients who want those services. And when we did that, we doubled the revenue. And with 10-person business, it was not a small amount of revenue, but it was barely profitable when we started working. But we doubled the revenue, well over $1 million, to do that without adding cost to the business. In fact, just needed one extra person to cope with the extra volume. So you can imagine how much more profitable Damien's business was after we did that, when we created the system around delivering the premium clients' greatest needs for their business, and developing our marketing to focus purely on attracting premium clients. That's what this process gives you the ability to do, that when your marketing agency is just trying to develop more leads, they are bringing in all sorts of low quality leads that will end up making your business busier, but possibly even less profitable. So that's the choice you have to make here of proactive, strategic authority marketing. And finally, we then move to the third phase here of building out everything that we've created in the first two phases, so that we can leverage the assets created in those phases and help you implement the strategies and tactics in a scalable and profitable manner for your firm, while minimizing the time you need to be personally involved in generating new inquiries. This program helps you transition from outbound direct marketing to inbound attraction of your highest value premium clients. You don't want to be the rainmaker in your business, as attractive as that sounds, and a lot of us would like that when we are struggling with attracting clients. We want to see it rain, but let it rain because you've turned on the sprinklers in your business, not because you're doing out the rain dance out there on your own, trying to look to the heavens and hope that it rains. This is about systematically, strategically, consistently and predictably bringing new clients to your firm because they want what you offer, because it matches their biggest need. So how does this work? Well, when you work together with me, the first component is the curriculum that we're working on. And I provide that curriculum through online video training. So you'll have access to our specific structured training delivered in video format, with the content broken down into easily consumable and implementable modules and work assignments that you'll submit for feedback from your coach. Now, I came to develop this methodology of working through COVID when I couldn't go out to my clients like I was used to doing one-on-one consulting at my clients' offices, and where we would spend time together working on their business. But really, it was a realization, and it was something I was already heading towards doing. But the COVID lockdowns that we suffered really just sped this up for me, and it made me do what I was planning to do anyway. Because the reality is that with every client, there was so much of what we did together that was just being repeated time and time again with each client individually. So much of the work I was doing with every client was the same as I did with every other client. So what I've done is distilled that down into a curriculum now that you're now able to work through at your own pace, with your own timing. Although there's a recommended timing to this process, it means that you can work on this at your convenience when it best suits you, rather than having to fit into my schedule. The value for me too is that I can help so many more people with this process than I could with one-on-one consulting, because I only have a certain amount of time in the day like anyone else. So therefore, working one-on-one creates limitations. So now I do still work one-on-one with clients, but in a much more leveraged fashion, and with a limited number of clients, obviously, at the highest level of the program. But now I can offer different levels of the program, some of which require none of my time or very little of my time, and others which are more structured, but in requiring much less of my time working one-on-one with clients than I ever used to do in the past. So that's component number one, the online video training, which has huge value and huge opportunities for you to really learn, or to do the deeper level thinking that is required to take your business where you want it to go in a way that you've never really had the opportunity to before, because no one has really taken you through this structured curriculum that I offer in this video training. Component number two is the personal support. Now, with each of the training modules in the curriculum, you'll be provided with workbooks and exercises for you to complete in order to implement the strategies and systems you'll learn in the program. The important thing about this program is not just teaching, it's not just training, it's about transformation. It's not about information. The information is there, but what's most important is the transformation. And having your business implementing the systems and the strategies that you'll learn in the program is the primary thing here. If you don't actually do the work to create the systems and strategies, then as much as you learn about how to do it, you'll never see the benefit, because it's only when the systems are working for you and you're able to sit back, maybe in a tropical island somewhere while you're on holidays, seeing the Stripe account messages coming in with new sales coming on. You can sit back and enjoy the work that you've done through this process. But if you don't get that system working, nothing's going to change. To help you do that too, we do offer personal coaching. Throughout the program, you're provided with with access to one-on-one personal, either yourself or with your team, the guidance that we offer and the support we offer from an experienced advisor to review your work progress and the systems and collateral that you're creating to ensure you get quick results and a rapid ROI. And depending on your budget, you can also opt for more one-on-one coaching at higher levels, either weekly or fortnightly Zoom calls with your personal coach. The third component is the mastermind group. And as much as I have this here as the third component, I often consider this the best component or the most important component, because each week you can attend a live group coaching call to ask anything you need to know about the work you're doing on the program and get specific answers to help you over the hurdle. If you can't make the call, send in your questions ahead of time and I'll make sure you get what you need on the recording. But in addition, you get the camaraderie that comes with being able to interact and engage with a like-minded group of participants who are on the same journey as you and succeeding in growing their professional service business. Now, what happens on this call is it's not just you ask a question and I answer it. Everyone has the opportunity to contribute here. And the value of that group dynamic is what I think is the most valuable part of this whole program, because we have pretty smart group of clients. And when you get a smart group of people on the call, often my clients come up with better solutions or are thinking ahead of me at the time, and they'll suggest something that I hadn't even thought of at the time that's just perfect for the clients. And also, there's the camaraderie together of supporting each other in that journey, but also I've seen a lot of my clients end up working together, either as clients of each other or as colleagues on the same path in joint venture arrangements or providing referrals to each other to increase that group dynamic. So as you can see, I'm fairly excited about how this part of the program works. And it's something I never had before when I was doing my consulting one-on-one, but it's a really valuable part of the program now that we're able to work together in this group format. Component number 4 is the sales training. Now, this is an optional part of the program if you want to improve your sales skills and your sales process. And through the curriculum, we do provide some modules early on to show you my successful approach to selling, which is a much different way than most consultants sell. In fact, I call this process selling without selling. It's really a way of taking the pressure off in the sales conversations and allowing your clients to come to their own decision about the value of your services without you having to put any pressure or without having to be persuasive at all. The training covers that in the curriculum, but also if you want the opportunity to practice in role plays and learn the methodology that I recommend through this sales part of the process, then it's a really safe environment for you to practice your presentations and receive feedback relevant to areas you can improve, to ensure that when you have valuable sales opportunities, you convert them with grace and ease. So you'll be able to go into sales conversations already with clients pre-sold through your marketing. But I've seen consultants, even in that situation, mess it up because they're not great at selling. And for most of us, selling is not the main part of our work. We only do sales because we have to, and it's not something we're 100% focused on. It's what happens when we have opportunities to get new clients. We have to do the selling. Now, if we can do selling without selling, I'm sure that most of us would feel much more comfortable. And often we do feel uncomfortable in that sales situation. It's not our core strength and something that we really don't look forward to. So this part of the program really flips that around so that you can look forward to sales opportunities because you're doing it differently and you're really inviting your prospects to become clients when you decide that they would be a good client for you. So you're ending up auditioning them or interviewing them as to whether they'd be a good fit for your practice or your client base, rather than them deciding that they want to work with you, because in many cases they've already pre-decided that they want to become your clients. They just have to know if it's a good fit, and so do you. And so this training is highly recommended, but it is optional. If you're already good at selling and you don't need this part, then you don't need to turn up for the weekly meetings here. So if you want to know more about the program and really look to see if this is a good fit for you, you can get all the details, much more than what I've just talked about now. Jump on this link here and check the link in the description below the video here. Go there, get the document here that describes in greater detail every part of the program, what it offers you, what's involved in it, what the outcomes should be and typically are, and the investments required at the various optional levels. So hopefully I've provided value here. You've learnt more about how to attract premium clients on command. If you want to know how we can help you install that methodology into your business, then go to this page now, get the details and decide whether you want to join us. I'd love to hear from you.